Can you hear me?
Hi, can you hear me, Yemi?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Perfect. So let's see you.
Okay, let's see if you can see. Okay, Charles, can you hear
Yep.
me? Are we on LinkedIn right now?
Yes, we are.
I don't know what the problem is. I can't see for some reason. So I'm trying to um, bring down everything that I have on my system that has to do with camera because it's saying it cannot say there is another device that I have on that is with the camera. So I'm trying as much as possible to shut down everything to see if I'm okay. Let me know.
So when it shows, I will see her. Interesting. So the idea for today's conversation is simply to talk about most of those life skills that you should have. So today I was going to start with my guest. My guest will be joining us soon. The idea of having someone share their own work experience, and that way we are able to rub off of what they've learned on their own journey Yemi has worked in different organizations that gives us the idea of what really work is like, and having him today was just letting him share his own lesson from his journey, and what are those things you look out for when you're starting at the beginning, and how we should prepare for work. So before he joins us, we could um okay. Okay, perfect. I think Yemi is here.
Okay,
Hi, Yemi.
I'm good. I'm very well, thank you.
Finally, we're here.
Yes, I think we made it through at this point in time. Um, so this gives opportunity. So how is this rendering on LinkedIn?
And it's clear on LinkedIn, very clear.
Okay. So okay. So this is the idea. So what happens is when this is up, we can take it and share with our different communities, right?
Yeah.
And we tell them that this would happen at 6 o'clock or whenever we running something today.
This is life, you know.
Okay, no, I thought it was a test.
Don't worry, we could stop and I think we have one person. We could stop and start when you're ready.
No, I'm totally ready for it. Since we just said we wanted to test this out, I don't have any issue with it.
So let's do it. So
Mm.
so let me hear from you, Yemi. Yemi, you've walked in everywhere everyone has ever desire to work for. So
Yeah.
from the smalls to the big, and what are those key things you think are basic for you when you're starting work? What's the unseen that you think we should focus? Mine is the first 90 days. Personally, I feel the first 90 days are a learning process. So what are those things that you think helped you, and all the places you've worked in your own career journey?
So I'll take it from two perspective. This is pretty early in the morning, right? So yeah. So I'll take it from two perspective. And this has to do with as you start your career. I will take it from the perspective of first and foremost, when you get your first job, right? And secondly, I would take it from a perspective of when you move to another job and what expectation should be. Okay.
Okay,
So let me
perfect.
let me take it from the first perspective, which is being a greenhorn, starting your first job, fresh out of school, be it first degree or your master's degree. I think what happens is when you get into the your place of work, the first thing that you should be trying to achieve in your first 30, 60 days is you learn everything that you need to learn, learning both technical, soft skills, people that you see as mentors, understand the way people work. So everything that you need to learn in the place of work is what you should be doing your first 30 and 60 days. Things around knowing who to talk to, who are key influential people within the business, how you relate with them, how you build a relationship and collaborate with them, because these are the people that at the end of the day will speak on your behalf when you are on the menu at dinner. And what does that mean? It means that when they're having conversations around how people work, these are the people that will say, oh, that nice guy who has just joined us, I think I like his spirit, I think I like his energy to work, right? So that is the way I would give guidance to anybody who has just got his first job. Um, just like I always remember, Mr. Kofi Sego, MD at Toyota, way back then. I recall during my first job in Toyota, I made a big mistake on one of the work I was doing, and I got like interesting emails like, "Oh, where did we get this one from? How would he create that? How would he do that?" Such a big mistake like that, right? Expect those things because you're still learning. So I felt discouraged on that certain day, but I recall Mr. Kofi Sego when he was just going home that night, and he just looked at my corner and he told me that, "Hey, Yemi, is it because of what happened earlier today that I'm feeling down?" He said, "Shake it off, right?" He said, "That is why you have 6 month probational period where you can learn fast, learn forward, and know how to do the right thing, right?" So for anybody who is starting fresh in a new job, those will be my that will be my guidance for them. In the first 3 to 6 months, learn everything you need to learn. As you learn, you practice. If you fail, you fail forward. Don't sit there and don't feel that, oh, the world is against you. So my 2 cents for a fresh person getting into work: learn everything you need to learn, then you move forward and you begin to have expertise of what you have learned over time. That is the first. For the second set of people who, for example, you've done your first job, now you are going into another job, I would not advise you should learn because you already have skills. You've already learned from where your previous place of work. The first thing I would tell anybody at this point in time is drive visibility in the new workplace, because people want to know why did we get this person in the first place, right? So for you, what you should be trying to achieve at that point in time is, let my work be visible to everybody, so that everybody knows that, okay, they didn't just employ somebody who is a yes ma, a yes sir kind of person. This person knows his onions. He knows what it takes to be in that role. So my guidance there is, try for getting visibility within the organization, be it with your leadership team, be it at your manager level, or at your peers across the different functions within the organization. And that is what I would advise anybody right now from both perspectives. Thank you.
So, when you said visibility, the concern about visibility most times is this. Um,
Sorry.
I like the idea of saying show yourself. It's like when Man City pays for Haaland, and Haaland comes to learn the job. The idea is that when you sign in a Haaland on your team, the idea is Haaland has just one goal, score goals. So how do you show without looking as without playing acting as a yes man, without trying to come off as a do it as a know it all? Because the idea is this: whether you like it or not, the dynamics is when you come into a team, you people also want to size you. People also want to see um, how you how because when we go out to recruit, we recruit someone that comes in to change the game of the team. And everybody's like, does it mean that we are not that good? So let's see what makes this person better than all of us. So how do you play into the dynamics for that second category so that you don't fall into the know it all and the showing too much? What are those basic things you think is a better way to get yourself involved and also blend with the team that has worked for you practically? Because the reason why we're having this conversation is when you've talked about Toyota. Toyota is a big brand. Working with Toyota Nigeria, working with the Microsofts. The idea is that you've seen what it is to work with global brands that are not just local. So how do you fit in when the money has been placed on you to change the game, and how do you fit in when you're a complete rookie? Are two different conversations. So what worked for you?
Okay, so thanks a lot, Charles. I think first and foremost, there are some things that I personally have imbibed over the years. When we are coming into a new place, even though I had said drive for visibility in the first 30 days, be active. But beyond that, there are things you also need to do at the same time. There is this thing that has always that is out there where you say you unlearn to relearn, right? So you get into a new place, you try to even understand how the dynamics in this place, how do things work, right? What is the culture? A lot of times people end up finding themselves in culture shocks, right? So first understand the culture of the place that you're working. If it's a culture friendly place, if it's toxic, if it's a place whereby they are big on diversity and inclusion, understand their language and all that. First and foremost, you need to just unlearn what you have known in your previous work, and try to imbibe a uh, new understanding of where you currently find yourself. And the reason why it would help you stabilize in the organization, right? There's also one thing that I have I always tell people: understand the key decision people within the organization, right? I always say people with the people with authority and influence within the organization. There are always four categories of them. You have the highies, which are the high authority, high influence. You have the halis, which are the high authority, low influence. You have got the lahis, which are the low authority, high influence, and the lalis, which are the low authority, low influence. There are always four categories of people within every organization. And as a smart person getting into a new place, you need to know those four categorization of people that within the organization they fall in there. Just like I'd always tell anybody, if anybody falls into the high heels, right? Always be in their good books. Likewise, for people in the Harleys, which is high authority, low influence, always be in their good books. In terms of people with the Lahis and the Lalis, which is low authority, high influence, just be very mindful of them and just keep your distance. While there are some that the lalis, for example, which are the low authority, low influence, which are people that fall into the categories of office assistants and all that. These are people that you can get the highest information of what has been happening in the organization for years. But the backside of that is that you don't add your own information, because when somebody comes next time, they would also tell you about your information. So it's understanding those four set of people in the organization, and at the same time, just you understanding the culture. Once you have that done, the next thing is obviously, as I rightly said, drive for visibility. Not because you want to show everybody that you are the next top dog, or you are the new Kylian Mbappe in that organization. But what you are just trying to tell them is, I have learned the process, I know how the culture of the place, and I'm bringing my technical knowledge, that is knowing the work, and I'm saying these are the best way to get it done. And when I'm getting it done, I need to share with everybody to see that this is what I'm doing part time. Yeah.
So let's look at, you've talked about high authority, low authority. So I'm more concerned about, let's get practical. How did you handle your low authority, low influence, high authority, low influence? Those three categories. How are you able to manage those three categories?
Okay, so high authority. Okay, so let me start for the LALIs, which I call low authority, low influence. I had mentioned this. These are your drivers, office assistants, the for the use of better word, those people in the low cadre of the organization, right? First and foremost, because they have, like I call them, the knowledge bank of the organization. And a lot of us always fail to understand that those set of people are the knowledge bank of the organization. They are the people that, if you look, they might have been the people, some of them might have been in the organization from day one, right? So they have a very strong knowledge of what has been happening in the organization. because you
True.
are smart and because you want to start navigating your way in that new organization, first and foremost, make them your friends. They are your friends because they would always want to share things with you. They are always welcoming. Oh, this new kid on the block who has just joined us. Ah, the guy did friendly. Okay, this person did friendly. Let me tell you one or two tips. Because just like I always say, once you have information, you have everything that can make you succeed in an organization. So these are
Yeah.
the first people you meet. They tell you that, oh, see this is how things are done. Even things that are not even written in the company's policy, these individuals know, right? So what I always tell people is engage with them, and that's why I always say be humble, be humble, because pride will not do it for you. And those are the innate qualities you need to bring into the game, right? So you just need to be humble, just need to understand them, and they'll come to you and they'll let you know, right? Even there are some things that in some organization it is not written, but they know. So they'll say, go and do this, go and do this, they go and do this. So first have them as friends because they will first give you your first footing in how this place works or the new organization works. But what I said earlier is that the mistake, don't make that mistake of adding your own information into their database, because trust me, when somebody
Okay.
comes time, you would be the first reference point when they are talking to somebody. So you need to be
Yeah.
smart about it. You need to be smart about it. In terms of the lahis, I always say the lahis are people that the halis, which are the high authority, low influence. Also see authority and influence as two things. Authority, see it as internal. Influence, see it as external. So when I say high authority, these people have authority in the organization. And when I talk about influence, these same people have very low influence outside. Who is
Yeah.
typical Harley in an organization? A typical Harley in an organization will be the EA to the MD, right? The executive assistant to the MD, the personal assistant to the chairman, and all. If those people exist, those are the people that fall into the category of high authority, low influence. Their authority in the organization is top notch because they are literally the persons, the people that the MD listen to mostly, but they might not have the influence outside. So what I
Okay.
always tell people is this set of people, you need to be in their good books, because one day the MD can just be working or the chairman can just be working and say, PA, this guy that has just we've just hired, what do you think of him?
And
Now,
that
if
that
not
that could
in
be it.
book, trust me, you're almost on your way out. Trust me. So you have to be smart, you have to be strategic about it, and so that you have to be in the good book. So when that question comes, whenever, she's always ready to say, oh, is he Yemi? Nice guy. I like him. I like his spirit. He's very open, he's humble. And those are the things that help you survive. And those are the things that, that will help you grow in a new organization. There's another set of people that I always call the the lahis, the low authority, high influence. A lot of people don't like me when I say this. Um, but these are people that have low authority internally but high influence outside. These are
Example.
these are your salesmen. Nobody
Okay.
nobody takes them as serious things inside, but their influence outside is because they represent your brand in front of the client. So they see you as the guy with the influence, right?
Yeah.
Um, Even though we know how salesmen to close deals, there'll be a lot of truth and no truth. So as a salesman, I always tell people know them, but don't get close to them because trust me, one day they will throw you under the bus, right?
Boss. True. True.
So just know them, appreciate them for the work they do, but please don't get thrown under the bus. So those are the categorizations. The high authority, high influence. Mostly, these are female people, right?
Okay.
Top in the organization who, both within the organization, they have authority, and when they go outside, they have influence. They are the people that are hobnobbing with the big boys in town, the everybody. So they have the high highs both in the organization and outside. These are the people that if there is a problem with the current organization they are calling, they can literally pull up their phone and call the president, the inspector of police, and all that. Those ones are literally the people you don't want to be in their bad books. Trust me, right? In every organization, somebody exists like that. So, what I always tell people is go identify these categories of people and be smart and strategic as you build your way in any organization that you find yourself.
So yeah, I mean, when you talk about being strategic, you see, the concern here is some things are not completely. There's a difference between being strategic and being a yes man. Um, Most times, people become yes men in quote because that's their own way of being strategic. However, I know having worked with this different brands and organization, there are better ways not to be yes men and be strategic. What are those ways you think works? Because everybody tells you everybody tells you let your work speak for you. However, we understand very well that sometimes at work there is more to your work speaking for you, and there is more to knowing how to use your work to speak for you. So, what worked for you? And let's get back to your own story. And for those brands you think, because you're free to talk about the brands you've worked with and how you've been able to being could be strategic without being a yes man, and how you think it would help any other person that is getting into that workspace, working with a global brand. And yeah, we'd love to hear your own perspective on it.
Okay, so I have different experience across boards, and different things had worked for me at different times in my career. Um,
So let's go back to all the places, all the people that have paid for your time and service, all of them.
no, there are so many people, but I think one thing that has come through across board is that when you have managers that are just simple and ordinary,
Which is very rare.
yeah, which is for me, I think, from Andrew Ajuya to Donald Etim to Enang to Rilwan Yusuf to Awawu Olumide Sojiri to Paula Wigwe. These are people, and I'm calling out names because these people are still alive. These are people that you can literally check on LinkedIn. These are people that I worked with. These are people that were my managers who we became friends. I can pick up my phone today and still call them and we just we yab ourselves. The truth of the matter is these people are humans. These are people who, for the use of any other thing, is the fact that they are just humble to the core, right? So for me, is that humility is something that will draw you to these individuals. But beyond that, you also need to look for what are the key engaging points with this individual, right? A case in point for me is the fact that um, and Andrew Adia is a big football fan.
Okay.
Um,
Understanding
interesting,
what they love. Yeah.
yeah. Interestingly, we support the best club ever,
I won't
right?
ask you what that club is,
No,
but
I'll
let's
let you know it's Arsenal. So, right.
I
So,
won't talk, I won't shout too much so that I don't create problems for myself. My very immediate stakeholder is an Arsenal fan. So I'll
okay,
pretend you're the best, you're the best club in the world. Accept.
yes, we are the best club in the world, right? So, and how does that help? It helps build connection,
Camaraderie. Yeah.
engagement, collaboration. So, and even the truth of the matter is, at times you begin to get privileged information,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Information that under normal circumstances you were not supposed to know, right? And this has worked for me across board, right? First, identifying who the personality type of your manager is, what are those things that he or she loves doing? How do you engage with them in those things, and they begin to open to you that beyond work they will start engaging you on other things. How is your life? How are you doing? How are you checking up on this and all that? It now moves from a boss to a colleague to a relational kind of engagement at the workplace. I know maybe for me, it has been great across the different organization, but in some cases that is not it. But I'm just trying to say it's something that you can intentionally do, and that's your journey during that the number of years or number of days you would work in that organization. That is how you can put it on that tangent tree for success in your place of work. Now, one thing that also helps when you look at the flip side, because you have built that relationship with the individual over time, the person would not want you to fail on your work,
Yeah,
right?
because you're both. Yeah, true.
Yeah. So the person will be saying, even though we are discussing this, how far have you gone on this? And because you don't want to, for the use of another word, you don't want to fall the person's hand, you have to double up and ensure that, look, you need to make the person look good while at the same time I look good.
Okay. So I've heard on your high key stakeholders. Now, what do you think is I'm looking for instances now for a complete new rookie. What's your typical 90 days at work like? You've been given a new chance because it was assumed that you were good, you passed your interview test, and your first 90 days. What do you think you can do that you've done that helps you move from that rookie stage to good prospects, because that's what the goal is for the first. The idea is that the first 90 days is like your own probation. So how do you move out from the probation state, and how do you start functioning well, and what are those things that you think helped you more? Because we're employed for technical skills, but someone said we finally, as a manager, you finally promote them for their own power and social skills. So what's that thing that you know that you've used consistently that's worked for you for your first 90
Okay.
days?
So thanks, Charles. Either we call it social skills, soft skills. I think the biggest of them all in when you try to unpack it is communication.
Okay.
Right. Social skills could mean be open, being a team player, and what have you. But just under it is what you call communication, your ability to communicate across the different chains within the organization, right? Communication here is you find yourself in a meeting that you have the leadership team, and you speak and they're like, where the heck did we employ this guy from? I think he's making sense, right? So one thing is knowing what to say, when to say it, and who to say it to, right? No matter, as I try to coin that, it all boils down to communication. It's communication, communication, communication. If you do a good job communicating, understanding the audience that you are communicating, they are getting the message, and you get a feedback based on what you have communicated, it's just going to be in a very short while. People will begin to notice you, and people will now begin to take you serious. Just like I had mentioned, visibility is actually communication.
Okay.
Visibility is actually communication as speaks, because if you do not tell people what you have done, which is communicating what you have done, nobody will see you as being visible.
But you know, yeah, me people say you don't tell you don't tell what you do. You let and why should I always tell the world that this is why? Why not? If they go to the records, they'll see I did that. So how do I not brag and tell people what I do in the workplace? How do I make myself seen without bragging or without, because see, most of us come from, I think the first challenge I had in the beginning with work, and this is me sharing, is that we assume that it's normal and I've done what I'm meant to do. However, we
Mm.
come to see that those that rise faster are those that know how to show and tell. They know how to manage the information. They know how to ask questions. Sometimes questions that might not make sense in the meeting, but it shows their intelligence. You're coming from a place that tells you, if you know it, why should you show up? But most of them are asking simple questions that you obviously would have asked. But maybe you feel, come on, how do I bring myself to start asking this question? And that's what the workplace wants. The person that will ask questions, the person that would that will look like a yes man, but might simply be showing. So, what are those ways that you could do this subtly and for a very good introvert come out from that box and be more like a social butterfly that doesn't hurt anyone, that also makes us come to your going at the end?
Okay, so this is what I'm going to say, right? When I use the word visibility, I'm using it from a standpoint of the work you do, right? So I'm going to use a typical example, right? So if there's supposed to be a campaign or there's supposed to be a project that is happening within the organization, and I'm saddled with the responsibility of making it happen, first and foremost, I try to look inwards. How do I get people internally excited about this?
Okay.
Right now, visibility. One, you send a company wide mail to say, "Hi guys, um, hope your day has been great. Just wanted to, drop into your mailbox this meeting invite whereby we need to come discuss about a new project that we'll be handling in the month of, say, for example, November. Happy to have you join the call so that you can share your thoughts about the ideation around this initiative." It's that simple as that,
I
right?
love I love your
It's
choice of words.
yeah, yeah, you understand. It's just as simple. It's as simple as that, right? And it's what you call, you get people talking,
Okay.
right? Okay, what is this mail now? What you have done is a company wide email. Now, somebody may know you, somebody may not know you. Then you start asking, because you start creating talkability. So, who is this person? Who is this person? Where is he from? What is he trying to say? Now, so many things is you started creating talkability within other groups within the company. Now, people who are bold enough will reach out to, "Hey, Yemi, I saw your email. So what is this all about?" This is a Yemi who, say, for example, his first thirty days, he has been learning, right? Nothing. He shoots his first email and everybody seems to like, "Okay, I like what you wrote. Okay, so what is it all about?" You might give them heads up on what you want to do and say, "Join the call on XYZ day and let's have a conversation," right? So, stage one, right? So you set up the meeting, people join the meeting, you make it short and sweet, maybe 30 minutes, 30, maybe say the meeting will be more than 30 minutes. And you get there, boom, 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 you make it 30 minutes and you are done. Even if when people want to extend it, you say, "Because I'm respecting your time, it's 30 minutes. If there's any other thing, we will put it in a complimentary, we'll put it as commentaries in the email that I will send." Now, you hold the event or you hold the webinar or you hold the that call, and people like, "I really like this 30 minutes. Wow, I think I like the conversation." You are already building your brand, your visibility within your colleagues. Now, what you have done at that point in time is when you send another mail for people to come, people will respect the fact that their time, and
Would
it's
not, yeah,
something. Yes, you
true.
get
Yeah.
that is visibility. You are not literally saying, "I am the new Kylian Mbappe from PSG to
To Real
Real
Madrid.
Madrid." And come on, come on. You get what I'm saying? So that is a subtle way to start landing your visibility journey. Now, you leave the ideation. Now, when you want to launch the campaign, be it you are launching the campaign internally and, of course, externally, if there would be press briefings, if there will be media tours, what you do is also send an email. Hi, guys, you have been very instrumental in this campaign. I just wanted to give you heads up on where we are and how we plan to roll this campaign out, right? You send that email and say, look, when you listen, if it's, for example, there's a radio campaign, please, these are the radio station, let me know. Even if you are driving, if you hear the jingle, buzz me and say, oh yes, I listened to this ad, because it's our money that we put out there. So everybody is an ambassador of this campaign, right? Because you need to pull people in. At the end of the day, it's visibility for you, but you are drawing people in.
Yep.
You finish the campaign and the impact and the numbers, you send another email to say, hi guys, this has the impact. Our revenue have grown from 5% to 25%. Thank you, everybody. Blah, 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 blah. That's it. That's visibility. Now, if your organization is the one that you have town hall meetings, right? Be happy to speak on initiatives you are working on. That gives you visibility. In all that have said, nothing has said, I am this. But it also, you are selling yourself again to your internal colleagues. And for me, that is my own definition of visibility. I hope this
Per-
helps.
Perfect. Helps very well. So, how do you handle a boss that um or team members that see you as a threat? Because it's bound to happen where maybe, let's assume you're the rock star. Let's assume you're the rock star in the team, and you start to notice that you've had people that are uncomfortable with within quotes your impact, and or the way you started shining or growing in the workplace. How do you manage the expectations from them so that you also don't take it personal? And how do you also, because the goal is this, you can't I'm always of the opinion that every rock band needs everyone, and the moment you stand out as a rock star, you you should always subconsciously remind everyone that without those playing the strings, that there will be no song. So how do you make everybody on the team be at ease and still deliver, even when you have bad energy from them most of the times?
Okay. Um, First and foremost, I don't always see myself as a rock star, right? I always see
Perfect.
anything that I work in as a team. I'm trying to look at the best name, Galacticos, right? There was
You're
a
so
time,
you're so interested in these Galacticos.
like whereby, so come to think about it, you have a team that you have a David Beckham, you have a Roberto Carlos, you have a Zinedine Zidane,
That was a classic.
You have a Luis Vigo, and like you said, oh my goodness. So who is the rock star? Everybody is a rock star. And what does that mean? When you find yourself in a team, it's either you are happy to pull people up to that level, right? To let people know
Nice.
that this is who I am.
Yeah.
Guy, you know you're not bringing your A game. How can I be of support to make you that star that you want to be? Right,
Okay.
and that's it. Because I don't we, gone are those days when we were in secondary school, that everybody's writing the exam, but that he covers his book and he doesn't want his colleague to fail, right? You understand? So it
Yeah.
is that same, analogy that I'm literally using at this point in time. So there will always be threats. Oh, say for example, if I'm moving to a new organization and they say, oh, that's the guy from Microsoft. First and foremost, I'm already a threat, because the company that I'm coming from has put me a threat in my colleagues. But
True.
how do you change the dynamics, right? Because people by default already have a mindset of who you are,
Yes.
right? They always say like, this guy is coming from this company. The guy go sharp, he go brainly, he go be this. People have already put you on a pedestal,
like Henry going from Arsenal to Barca.
Let's leave that matter. You understand?
Okay.
Right. Yes, I agree. It's the same thing. Yeah. So people already have a mindset that this is who this person is. Now, when you get there and say, no, you are rating me because of the organization, rate me because I am this, right? And
Yeah.
this would have to do with things of your values, the things what you cherish, what you cannot do. And people like, wow, this is a little bit different. I was thinking he would be this. I didn't know he was this. Just like the way I tell people, and I hold this in high esteem. Um, when I work in, in my days in Microsoft, and I tell people um, that I schooled in Ajegule, people cannot phantom it. And
So
I'm
for
like,
so for starters, Ajegunle in Nigeria, it's like your typical is your typical what's the best way to put it? But that was
ghetto,
Ajegunle. Yes,
slum,
yes,
ghetto,
slum ghetto.
slum.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that was years ago. The Ajegunle
yeah,
of current years might have improved, but that's the
evolve.
mindset. Yeah,
That's the mindset thing. And I tell people, so why do you think that way? Right. And people say they cannot marry it. But I say that's just it. So if I find myself in a team, right, and everybody is kind of you know, threatened, I'll first and foremost bring them closer and say, this is who I am. Don't be threatened about me. I'm here to also help you grow. What do I have that I can deposit in you that will make you a better person on your role?
yeah.
Right? Because look, when you find yourself in a team, even though that they are looking at your individual performance, the organization is looking at the value that whole team is bringing to the table. So
True.
it doesn't have to do about that one person, is how we are collaborating as a team in our unit to drive that real impact to the leadership team to say, oh, if you are talking about our operations team, those guys are on fire. Not necessarily looking at, yes, there could be the star boys and the star girls, but they look at you as a team, irrespective of what Odegaard is doing in Arsenal, or irrespective of what Bukayo Saka is doing at Arsenal. When
This
Arsenal
Arsenal
is
conversation.
judged,
Why can't we have a conversation without bringing in Arsenal?
it just gives context. It just gives context. It all boils down to the whole team. It boils
Yeah.
down to the whole team, right? And that is my mentality and my mindset in terms of when I find myself in a team that they think I'm a threat. No, I bring them together and say, this is who I am, and this is my mission here.
Okay, so it's a subtle reminder. And you have to always remind yourself and remind them that that's what it is. Okay, perfect. It's Saturday morning. I woke you up and I dragged you out. So before I send you back to go back to family, what are those memories you think, or were your early? What was your story like for work that you think stands you out, and you think you would always share to any young person that is coming into this work post COVID that is completely a remote world, and the dynamics have changed from the years you started. The newest in the workplace. I know we've had this conversation about the newest to Gen Z, but how do you think? What has worked for you very well? Your own some story, and I would love to hear.
Okay. And I'll say this, everything that I have said today or on this conversation today has what has helped me. Um, but maybe I would maybe use the next maybe 5 minutes or so
Perfect.
to just walk you through that journey. Um, I stand to be corrected that I remain one of the very few people in this country that has worked across maybe 4 or 5 um, industry verticals, and at the same time, maybe not really applied for a role, um, and people like, okay, it is luck, right? And I say, hey, Shamade Yemi says, what is the definition of luck? Is opportunity meets preparedness. So if you call it luck, I'm fine, right? So let me go back in the day, right? I finished from school, went for service year, came back from service year. I tell people I got the fastest job ever. um, I had to resume at the hospital. My dad was not feeling well. He had a terminal ailment. Amongst my siblings, I was the only person around, so I had to take him. I had to take care of him. My elder brother was doing the financing. I was doing the what they call what do I call it? I was the one taking care of him, right? Not because I didn't have other siblings. Other siblings had gotten married. Others were in school and all that, but I was the person on ground. Now think about it. You just came back from service here. The ideal thought process for every young person is to start applying for jobs and all that, right? But for my own case, it was something different. I had to resume at the hospital. My JD were fantastic because I had to do things like cleaning him up, bathing him, washing his clothes, because he didn't have full control of his system. So what that meant is that he defecated on his body. I had to wash that. So that was my JD, right? And people were like, okay. And of course, you know what that would do from a mental standpoint. I
Yeah.
wasn't in the best frame of mind, right? Now, in that simple place, right? I got my elder brother came and said, you know what? Somebody specifically asked of the skill set that I had. And I said, okay, in Nigeria, where you study statistics, they feel that at the end of the day you become a teacher, right? And I said, okay, really fine, not a problem. And that was how my journey started. He literally took my CV and just dropped it with somebody who I respect too much today. And they gave me a first chance. That was it. Right. I went in there. I was supposed to go through a process, but miraculously, and these people are still alive. Uh, they worked the process for me, right? And I mustn't be saying this, but that's just true. What happened? I got my first job in Toyota, and the learnings from that. Anytime that this opportunity comes, I always tell people. And interestingly, I did that. I did what I did um, with my dad for 1 year. So think about it. 1 year after service year, I did that for 1 year. Even though my
Yeah.
dad passed on, my dad passed. When my dad passed, 3 days later is when I got the job, my first job, and I got the job
Condolences about that.
in Toyota. In Toyota. And anytime that I say this story, I always tell people, you cannot move to the next level of your life if you do not sacrifice something. It's
What was
either
your
your
big sacrifice?
my time. It was my time.
Okay. Okay.
It was my
That's
time.
nice. Yeah.
Right. And when I talk about sacrifice, that means you are giving your 100%. All
Yeah.
through I was in the hospital, I never took or looked at the Tuesday Guardian or the Thursday Guardian. For those people who don't know that, nowadays you can go online and check for jobs, right? But then that is where you look for jobs.
Really?
Right. So I didn't have the opportunity to read the Tuesday or Thursday Guardian, right? Um, the job came to me, right? And that was it. Spent 4 years in Toyota, learned all that I needed to learn from what they call from a green on, from a rookie. I became a grandmaster, right, in 4 years. And within those 4 years, in fact, I think last week I just checked in with some of the boys in Toyota, and some of those templates that I did like 19 years ago are still being used till today, right? And which for me put smiles on my face and like, wow, such an impact that I had created way back then. So after 4 years in Toyota, and the next job came calling now, and who else would give you an opportunity to then move to your next place? My MD, Mr. Kofi Sego, reached out to me and said, hey, Yemi, we are setting up something. It's called Subaru. And we would want you to join the team. And that was it. And I said, who bought me? Mr. Kofi Segu. Ha. Fine boy looking good. Smooth talker, deep voice. Oh my
Yeah, I mean, are you
goodness.
sure your voice, you didn't smooth talk most of them to accept you?
No. Boom.
No, I get it.
Boom. Boom. That was it. Had a conversation with my manager to be Funke and Tekim, Funke Michaels and Tekim, and all these people are alive. And please, you can check Funke Michael and Tekim. And before we knew it, I started my second career stint at Subaru Motors, Nigeria. Even though it was short lived, it was about 6 to 8 months. I think about 8 months. I still went on to deliver some of the basic technical knowledge that I, brought from Toyota into that organization. And what I said at that point in time is for Mr. Kofi Sego, the MD of Toyota, to identify you. That means as an individual, show your expertise in this a particular skill. Just what
Yeah.
I'll tell people: know something about everything and everything about something. And I think that works. It's good to be an all rounder, but let them narrow one particular thing to you. And for me, that was it because I was managing the rundown, which was more of the order demand supply system of Toyota. And I was pretty good at it because of my background of numbers. That was what gave me that like express card in joining Subaru, right? So that is what I'll tell anybody. So um, lesson number two from my story: be an expert in a particular thing. First is you need to sacrifice something. The second is that you need to be an expert in something. Um, and I did 8 months, and my next job came calling. Now, remember I mentioned Funke Michael in Tekim. She had left Subaru and went to Samsung. And now she got
Mm,
to Samsung and she gave me God. Just hold out your boy, like, hey, Yemi, you know what? I'm here at Samsung. There are opportunities here. Is it something that you are interested in? That was my third journey. I was headed up
mm,
to Samsung. Right now, the thing about Samsung was pretty different, and I always appreciate FMN, Funke Michael Intekin, because when you have a manager that looks into your soul and tells you that, Yemi, you are great in this aspect, but I think you will do better in another area. And that was what Funke did to my life. She literally took me from a numbers person to become a communications person. She took me from that
that
person
was awesome. That
to
was
become a media person. And like
she
I'm
looked into
asking,
you. Yeah. Yeah.
like I'm saying, how on earth, what did you see? I'm a numbers person. Why do you, till today I should be asking the question why? So the Samsung opportunity came and boom, I became the PR and media person. Now it was challenging for me as an individual. And the third lesson is there is work with boss that will see who really your key potentials. There are bosses you just work with and they don't even regard you. They just say you are another pawn in this chess game.
Yes, but
But she changed my narrative. She said, "Yes, Yemi, you're a fantastic numbers person because, mind you, we both worked in Subaru, so she knew I could do the numbers. But she saw a different aspect of me as this guy would be a PR and media person, and that was how I moved to Samsung. New role, but for me it was challenging because I had to unlearn everything that I knew. I started learning new things. I started learning how to do this thing, and that was it for me. So that was the third move. My fourth move, I think after 2 years, did fantastic. I ran some of the best campaigns ever in Samsung. On my fourth move, there was somebody who I worked with maybe less than a month in Toyota. He had just moved to Lafarge, and he picks up the call and say, "Yemi, I know that you are a very good numbers person. There is a role in Lafarge, and I want you to come have it." So that was my fourth move, right? His name is Ruwan Yusuf. You call him Wale Yusuf, right? And that was it. I moved to Lafarge, and even I remember when I was having conversations, he said, "Are you a numbers person or are you a communications person?" I said, "I am the dual person. Just tell me what I want to do." And in this country, it is very, very unique for you to have those two skills, right?
Okay.
In terms of, because we remember when you go into the university, you can do a English major without maths, and you can do a maths major without having your passes in English. So for me, having both of them, I was like on top of the world, which somebody literally made me discover that, right? So Wale Yusuf, um, my fourth opportunity took me to Lafayette, and I'm asking myself, how would I work with somebody for 1 month, and 4 years later he comes and says you are the best guy for this role? Lesson four: even if you are going to spend 1 hour with somebody, leave a lasting impression in that person's mind, right? And
Perfect.
that was what was it for me. And that was my fourth move. Did 6 months, and before I knew was what was calling, I wake up one morning, checked in my LinkedIn. Somebody said I have a fantastic profile. He has gone through what the things I do on LinkedIn, and there is a role for me. Boom. I said, what's the role and what's the company? Before I knew it, it is the almighty Microsoft. Who on else? It's just like you. Real Madrid is calling for you, and you're trying to look at Chelsea.
No, no,
Do
no.
you
FC
understand?
Barcelona is calling for you, and you're looking at Atletico Madrid.
You get what I mean, right? See, right? So, and I asked myself, and this is the fifth lesson here: whatever you do online tells about who you are.
Yeah.
Whatever you do online really tells about who you are. So somebody goes behind, checks my profile, checks what I've been doing online, and boom, the next person reaches out to me and say there's an opportunity, and this is the opportunity. And that is how I moved to Samsung. I moved to Microsoft.
Microsoft.
So that has been my career journey over the last maybe 18, 19 years. Just like I said, I've not applied industry verticals and all that. So that is where I am right now. Currently, I am on recess, thinking about my next gentry, right?
Zidane goes on recess and is looking for
Yeah,
it, taking his time.
yeah,
So it
to
happens.
but I just want to tell people that that has been my journey for any rookie who wants to grow, not necessarily following that template, but some of the things that I have shared with on this conversation today will help in navigating and help you, on that your journey from a career standpoint.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Power skills, technical skills, social skills. Which would you rather choose?
Now, is it I must choose one?
So which you're at the other side, you're about to employ a new Galactico to join your team, and
Yeah.
you've looked at everything. What would you rather? What would be the split decision? What will help you make that split decision? I will run with this person. And the
I'll
person
go
is
for
choosing.
the. I will personally go for the. I will not go for technical skill. I'll go for the social skills.
When you
Trust
say
me.
you won't go for technical skills, why?
So now, what I need from you from a technical standpoint is I need you to have the basics,
Okay,
because in every organization you need to get there and learn their mode of
everything
operandi. Yeah.
perfect, perfect,
Now,
perfect,
what most organization would not teach you is the social skills.
perfect, perfect,
Right.
perfect.
So if you are coming strong
Yeah,
as somebody with those social skills, fantastic, because you'll be able to navigate faster, right? Because I'll normally teach you a 2 months or a 3 months or a 1 month, you need to do your onboarding so you can learn how we do it here. But
perfect.
once you have those social skills, boom, that's it.
Okay, you just made my job easier, you know. So this is it. From time to time, we'll have these conversations, but we're having workshops for teams and new rookies, millennials in leadership, Gen Zs that just got involved in the workplace. The goal is to be able to prepare them with those. People call them common sense in the workplace. They call them social skills. They call them power skills that you need to ace any kind of workplace. But for today, thank you, Yemi. Thank you for sharing your own time. I would go back to listen to this. And the best conversations, you don't really know what you say until you go back to them. But I think I had my own lessons. I'll share a bit of them. Understanding your high your high stakeholders. Like I used to call them high and low stakeholders, but you broke them into four. I'll break them down. Then understanding that when you come into a team that you're unique, very unique, and that your first responsibility is to make your team members understand you've come to help, and that you've not, especially when you see there's bad blood, understanding that you can't be a rock star in a team, that you come into a team like a Galactico in quote, meaning that you don't come into a team showing that you don't come with a Superman mentality. That's how I call it. You come in understanding that everyone adds a string to it, and that way you make everything more relaxed. Then for visibility, when you come into a new team, the best way to be visible is that you also the best way to get attention is also show what you're doing. Um, Tell them what you're doing, and everybody will be interested. And when you say you want to do it in 30 minutes, do it in 30 minutes. I promise not to take your time this morning, so I'll try to stop so we'll have this conversation the next time. So thank you, Yemi, for your
Thank you, Charles. All right, then.
time. Yeah,
Thanks a lot.
cheers, man.
Bye. Yeah.
Yeah.